Hello and welcome back to another episode of Star Wars Alliance. While I'm staring down this thing of fried rice here, I apologize. It's just like sitting right in front of my desk for some reason.
Dude, don't even worry about it. I thought about we were coming on here. And I was like, oh, I need to like put on like a shirt or whatever because I'm in this snuggy blanket thing. And I was like, you know what? We're talking about Skeleton Crew. We're just remembering when you were a kid and just relaxing.
Yeah.
So don't even worry
And
about
you
it.
know
dude.
what? It's festive, okay? You're
It's
dressed
and,
When you
I'm
when
in
you
the
popped up here, Adrian. By the way, guys, Adrian's here. Really
Whoa,
appreciate him
sorry for
showing up.
catching in there.
No,
Sorry.
it's all good. I love that when you are here because I mean we had some really hot takes with some of the talk of Jedi and everything else when we were talking about the Acolyte. And you just made my week every single time you jumped on here when we
Yeah,
talked.
thanks, man.
So of course
Made my life easier.
we had
Yeah,
to have
happy
you
to do
jump
so.
on. We had to have you jump on and talk about
Yeah.
Skeleton Crew as well. But yeah, when I saw
Yeah.
you pop up with this sweater of yours, I was like, "Holy crap! Santa came early. What is this?"
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. That's what everyone says. But honestly, dude, I just like red. So like
Yeah.
when it was like a gift from my uncle who got me into Star Wars through like Star Wars Galaxies and things like that. So it's a very special sweater. But whenever I put it on, I was like, feel like home. And everyone's like, Santa. Even like in July, every time the weed delivery guy comes, it's Santa every single time without fail. So
That's
can't wait to get
hilarious.
some gray in my beard, and then we'll see how it goes.
But guys, of course, if you are not here live with us on YouTube, you could see the title shows that we are going to be talking about Skeleton Crew episode 3. But before we do that, we do have some news. That news being, of course, the Mandalorian and Grogu movie news. And some people are excited, some people aren't excited. I think that this is like a meme actually coming to life, which is absolutely amazing. But let's go ahead and talk about some of like the biggest announcement that actually got a lot of people talking. And we were just talking right before we went live about how we're excited about comics coming to life with this one. Katie, remind me of the actor because again, went in one ear and out the other.
So it is, I say confirmed, but it's like on the Hollywood Reporter and everything that Jeremy Allen White, the star of The Bear, or one of the stars of The Bear, will be voicing this little guy from the Clone Wars movie, Rhoda the Hutt.
No. Sorry. No. This is all wrong. This is all wrong, Katie. This is all wrong. You were showing the wrong one here. This is who
Sorry.
he will be hoisting.
Yeah, feeling Big Papa.
Yes. So
Big Papa.
Jabba's baby, Rhoda the Hutt, will be appearing in The Mandalorian Grogu. And he's not just going to look like most Hutts we've seen in live action. He is apparently going to be buff.
Quote unquote buff. I love how everybody is just like he's buff. Like how is that a thing? And I'm like, clearly you guys are being ignorant and not reading the comics here. So Adrian,
totally
they just don't know. They just don't know. They just don't know yet, and they're going to. And it's the best part about it because we do know, and we get to talk about it.
I'm gonna die in the theater.
Just eating. I'm eating. I was dying this week. I was dying last night.
I opened Twitter because like that's the only social media that I'm really bad at. I'm trying to get like better at not using it, but then also at the same time it's the only one I ever use. And so I open it and I just see all these things and I'm like, wait, what? Is this a joke? Because first of all, Jeremy Allen White, I don't picture him as a Hutt. But obviously I don't have to picture him.
Yeah.
Well, not only that, it's just like we there has been a huge debate, and I feel like Travis Snell, of course, our godfather over here at Geekverse and the Geek Ultimate Alliance, is very passionate about Hollywood and about voice actor versus actor, like who should be on screen, who shouldn't be on screen, type of scenarios, type of thing.
Like Alfred Molina in the Skeleton Crew.
Exactly.
Sorry, just had to go ahead and throw that in there.
Exactly. We're going to talk about that later. But this persona, this actor, I've seen clips of the bear. I see that he is clearly, a talented individual. And out of every single person you could have casted him as, they
cast
choose
him as Rhoda
the Hutt. It's a very interesting casting. Adrian, how do you feel about the casting? Like, do you think that this is
I mean,
well, keep going.
Yeah,
keep going.
I like it. I like it. I mean, I like him. I know like the bear is the big thing right now, and I haven't finished watching it because it's like really hard for me to watch that one because like a lot of like family trauma, and I'm like going through a lot of it myself. So I'm just like processing a lot of that at the same time. They're also processing it. I was like, I got to keep up with them in the show. But I love him. But I remember him when he was a wee lad in Shameless. So I've been watching this dude get his ass kicked as like the smaller kid for forever. So hell yeah, who else to cast in that role better than him? Someone who's played the smaller brother, smaller punch down role. Give them the biggest Hutt, scariest Hutt we've ever seen, and like let's see like how he plays into that through his amazing acting abilities that we've seen in all of his things. So I'm with it. I'm with it. I think no better role than that. Then give him a voice acting role, give him a motion cap role as a giant Hutt. I'm down. Let's do it. A motion cap role. They have to do mocap. Let him be giant. Let him be big.
To.
Well, I feel like it would work best with him just because, of course, him being the actor that he is. Don't put him into a booth confined and just like reading lines. Like, I'm sorry, that can't happen. Get him out there with Pedro Pascal, with all these other actors, and really see him with the chemistry and everybody else. I think that's how it's going to work best for him, So that's what I'm hoping for.
No, yeah, for sure. Yeah, put him in mocap because it's 2024, man, and you can afford it. Like, let's do it, man. If you're gonna get him, you better use him, please.
Well, we say you can afford it, but also, Katie, can you confirm what the budget for this movie is? I can't remember if we've actually talked about it or if it's like even rumored to have like some sort of budget, as far as like a larger budget than anything else. Because I would assume that this individual is not a cheap actor in the sense of like it's gonna cost Disney some money to have him on The Mandalorian and Grogu.
All right, so movieweb.com, and this is from February of this year, says the budget is $120 million.
I feel like that seems a little low. Now again,
well, that's the point, is that they've lowered costs.
I was just about to say, due to the quote unquote flops, which I just think, hey guys, you made one less billion than you did last year. Calm down. They're gonna want to go with a cheaper route, but I still think that I think it might be a little bigger, but who knows?
Yeah.
I think this is going to be interesting. I want to know do you guys think with the world now, quote unquote, knowing, because again, Katie, you said Hollywood Reporter announced this and everything else, do they keep him out of the trailer or do they use him and his voice as a staple to get people into the theater? What do we think?
I think you're going to see him in the trailer. I mean, nobody's going to know who he is because, I mean, Clone Wars movie was not, like, it's not one of the most popular pieces of media that Star Wars has, even though it's got a good legacy. Plus, Rhoda is a baby versus Rhoda is semi-adult buff Hutt. So you're not gonna like recognize them. So the voice is gonna be the key thing. And I think with the popularity of the bear, you want to capitalize on him being in there.
Oh, well, that's also a thing. I can't remember if he spoke basic at all in the comics.
Yeah, and also I get almost. I'm thinking of all the Hut voices we've ever heard, and even Zero had like a little bit of a added computer twang to it, right? It's not like 100% the voice. There's always something behind it, so it's going to be like an obscure voice. But again, if it's like a physicality thing, yeah, they're going to use that dude. He might be 5'7", but he's a shredded 5'7". And if they're going to motion cap it, they're gonna get it. They know. I mean, and I say this as someone who doesn't even watch trailers. I don't even watch the trailers anymore. I haven't watched trailers since Rogue One, so I don't know. I'm the wrong person to ask there.
I think it'll be interesting. I think they could just the awe aspect of somebody watching this trailer and then even for like a split second seeing freaking 20-pack abs Hut and being like, what the hell did I just see? And then just like going back, pausing it and looking at it and like, guys, I think we have to see the Star Wars movie.
Yeah, and then there's inevitably going to be the Huts aren't supposed to be buff. When are Huts ever buff? And then we get to go look. We've had this dude forever. Look at him.
Oh god, there's gonna be a side of the internet that's gonna make Huts sexy, aren't there?
Oh yeah, it's already there. No. It's already there.
Yeah, I think it's too late for that.
I'll sacrifice incognito mode. I got it. No worries. I'll suffer. I'll do the curious work. I got it.
Oh man.
But with the Hutt, do you think this has any connection with the rumors that Boba and Fennec will be present in the movie? Do you think this has any connection with them taking over like the crime throne on Tatooine?
Yo, I mean, low key, if a buff Hutt rolled in, I was rewatching Book of Boba Fett, playing a lot of Star Wars Outlaws, makes me want to go play Book of Boba Fett to go like hate the Pikes more. So it's really good for that. But then I'm like thinking about the same scene when the twins roll in. It's obviously very intimidating because they're coming in on like the being carried and all this fanfare. But if like it's a buff Hutt just slugged in, I don't know how big Boba's gonna feel.
Yeah.
In a moment like that, like that's gonna be a much tougher thing with any bounty hunter you can think of the time showing up too. It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be crazy because even if you think about like not even buff Hutts in like the High Republic still, they get their hands dirty. They pull out those things. We only have in the Skywalker saga we have like just like the fat boring Hutts, but there's a time where the Hutts got their power not from just sitting on their ass, but being legitimately scary. So
yeah,
I'm with it. I'm with it. Let's see it.
No, it's just what an amazing way to just like somewhat, and again, I use this word just to trigger some fans on purpose, and I apologize, to purposely like retcon Boba Fett in the sense of like, oh, you can't rule because here comes Rhoda and he's gonna be the ruler now, I think that would get a lot of people to be like, wait, what happened? I didn't see this show. What's going on? Boom, go back, spike in numbers in Book of Boba Fett season 2 announcement. Boom. No. But
no,
I
dude,
think
you're onto something. You're onto something, man. They mentioned Crimson Jack. Where's the only place you can find Crimson Jack stuff? The Halcyon Star Cruiser stuff that no longer exists. How do you get people to go check out stories that don't have any way to be relevant anymore? That's how you do it. You mention them in weird ways, dude. That's how you do it. I know it sounds silly, but like I think that's legitimately how it is. I mean, how it got me to go back to my comic and be like, oh, shit, look at that. Yeah, like Crimson Jack, that's cool. But also like, look at all this other cool stuff that's in Star Wars. Yeah, so it's there. And it's a good way to do it. Feed it to me that way instead of just forgetting about it. At least remember it. It feels like what it's doing. It feels like that's what Skeleton Crew does a lot as well. So,
yeah,
100%. So that was our first part of the news. We have two other pieces of news that are also Mandalorian Grogu relevant. So the next one is the fact that, we already mentioned that,
Bubba and Fennec
yeah,
are rumored
are
to be making
rumored
an
to be there,
appearance.
but
Mhm.
there is also word that Pedro Pascal is going to be filming some scenes for the Mandalorian Grogu here recently. That was back on December 10th. We also know that he was recently on the set and quite possibly wrapping up, and I believe it has been confirmed that it has wrapped so far, but Fantastic Four. So his schedule has opened up to possibly do anything as far as pickups and or reshoots for Mandalorian Grogu, depending on how that schedule is all going out. I'm not entirely sure if it's actively filming or if they're just kind of spot shooting.
It's probably spot shooting just because, I mean, Lateef Crowder and I can't remember who the other guy is. I just know it's Lateef Crowder because Lateef was supposedly the one who said Pedro was going to be on set. But they play Mando most of the time. So Pedro's probably just shooting like a couple, one, maybe two scenes probably, where he's got his helmet off.
Mhm.
And that excites me.
Hey, shout out UK for just saying that thing you said that one time. I don't know when it was, but I remember seeing it and I was like, yeah, because it is really just like Latifah all the time. Not that Pedro Pascal can't do it, but like I saw you in Gladiator, man. Like let's do some more of your stunts too in this one a little
Yeah.
bit, man. Like let's. I want to cheer you on the way that I want to cheer Latifah on as well because you be putting in the work.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And then as far as other Mandalorian Grogu stuff, I believe that is it. I think
Yep.
that is it for
Yeah.
the news as well. So if you guys want to jump into it, let's go ahead and jump into Skeleton Crew episode 3. The episode is titled it's titled very interesting as in astrogranation problem
Navigation?
problem
Astral navigation problem.
astrogration
Astronomical. I don't know.
astrogration problem. That's the
Look, man, someone
Astrogation.
a character who is written to be much smarter than me said the words. So
yes.
I'm not feeling bad about not being able to say it.
Exactly,
Okay.
exactly. So first thing before we talk about story or anything else, I want to talk about one of the first shots in this episode. It's at a minute 40. It is a shot of all of
Are you just oh no, at Atten. Okay, okay. Sorry.
shot of all of Atten right before you see the scene with all of the parents.
Yeah.
But you see the cityscape. This show, I love how it feels like Star Wars and doesn't feel like Star Wars all at the same time. Like, I think it is absolutely amazing. And again, I talked to Katie about this last week, and I know, Adrian, you were in the chat when we were talking about this. But the idea that, like, people were saying, like, "Oh, this is exactly how the original trilogy felt." And I'm like, "This is nothing like the original trilogy," and I kinda like it also. The fact that it's crisp, it's clean. I love domesticated, you know, freaking, uh suburban Star Wars. It actually feels really, really nice.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think the way that I see it, and I think as you're saying this, Clay, I mean, think about like how this whole thing opens, right? It's a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, right? Like all this stuff that's happening is some primitive, crazy, but so like super far away stuff. Atten's been closed off for all that stuff for who knows how long. They just became us. They just became boring. They became us. They became us. We're not supposed to like
Worried
that. We're
about their
supposed to be
9 to 5
yeah, they
jobs.
don't even know what their parents do. We want to be like yeah, I think that's why. I think that's why it's not supposed to feel like Star Wars. It's supposed to feel too like our home. It's
Mhm.
too scary. But I think that it does other things in it that grounds also very well, like you're saying, Clay, that we can talk about a little bit later once we get to like the Borgo stuff. And I'll see what where the timestamp is, and I'll try and jump in when you talk about it. But the show, it really does a good job of grounding me personally when I look at it in different ways. Where I'm just like, man, this isn't Star Wars because this is brutal. This is way more brutal than Star Wars. This is not A New Hope. This is like or any of those things. This is all the stuff behind A New Hope, behind the cantina stuff that you see, all the scum and villainy stuff that Obi-Wan's talking about. It's this, so it's not like that. A New Hope, the original trilogy, that's all what Wim is looking at in the book. That's what he's looking at. We're looking at everything else that's happening around it, and it's sick. That's why I like Andor is so good. That's you know, I mean, Acolyte's good for other reasons, right? Because we're looking at different sides of things, not just like one storybook perspective of it. And I think that's why, you know. I'm just want to know more about Ad in every episode. I'm just like, what is it?
Yeah.
What is it? The droids? I don't know.
And I do just want to call this out just because we're terrible at mentioning it, but KB's parents are actually she's got 2 moms. So there's like LGBTQ representation in the show there. They don't have they have a couple of lines, but it's not like they're the main focus of the show, but I did just want to like point them out. So
of course. I also would like to tell us and fans that I feel like sometimes we just need to calm down, because Katie and I were like, well, you know, putting on our tinfoil hats and saying, I think this dude's a bug. I think this dude is trying to set up things because why didn't... And dude, they answered that question immediately. Like,
it's the other grounding part of it. He's like, hey, we're going to talk about the same things you talked about all week right in front of you. We got you. We're fans. We get it. I love it.
I love it, man. It's so good because it is a constant conversation with the people that are making this show. Yeah. And that's what I love about it. It's like, okay, well, how do you do this? And then they show us and like, awesome, cool. Well, how did you do that? And they're like, oh, well, let me just show you. It's just a boom. I love it.
But still, did he? Oh,
yeah, exactly. There is still enough nuance and enough questions for you to be like, okay, I have, because I'm bad at this. You can ask my wife. We just got finished watching. We were a little behind, but we just finished watching season 4 of Only Murders in the Building. Every episode, it's this person. No way, I changed my mind. It's this person. No, I changed my mind. It's this person. I'm always trying to figure out the surprise or the plot or the big, you know, who done it before the reveal. And it's just who I am as a moviegoer, as a TV show
I think that's
person.
who a lot of us are.
So when it comes to this show in particular, you know, when we're making all of these tinfoil hat theories, we're like, oh yeah, like that's got to be it. That's got to be it. And then they show a little bit of it, but then they kind of reel it back and they're like, oh, well, are we sure? What's going on? You know, go along with this journey with us. Adrian, you picked up a really good point. And it's actually showing up. I have the episode going on right now. When there's, you know, they're saying like, oh, he's a Jedi. Like he's the protector of justice and all of this. So we can trust him. And, you know, I like how he's like, oh, you know a lot about the Force. And it's like, oh, that's something a Jedi would say. And the way that he says it is kind of how how that kind of Jedi speak is. But I don't trust him yet. I don't
trust him because we watched The Acolyte and we know now, don't trust the Jedi no matter what era it is because they're just cops. No. But like, you know, like you don't know. And then like the KB stuff, I don't know if KB. And then you had the conversation, is KB Force sensitive? I didn't really get on I didn't know what the internet's talking about. I'm just talking about like theories that like I'm just, as I'm watching it with the people I was watching it with, we were just firing off theories and questions left and right just because we were trying to figure it out. And we don't know. And I think it's a marker of a good show where I'm just like, I don't know. And whatever answer they come up with, I think is dope because I'm just, the ride has been so fun.
I think she like was sensing like with her headset, she was sensing
that's what I assumed. That's what I assumed it was. It was something with her visor. But even I just love how they call it out. It's like, oh, you know, I guess KB has the Force too. And then, of course, Jude Law's character is like, "Well, the Force resides in all of us." You know?
I loved that.
Like, it was like, you're telling us the truth, but like, I still don't know. and it's awesome. I love it.
Real quick, hello, Draken737. Wave back.
Yes, in the
Oh,
chat. Hello, hello.
that's my friend who's here visiting me today. Or this
Oh,
week for his birthday. Yeah. Thanks for hanging out, bud.
happy
Yeah,
birthday,
that's
dude.
awesome. We get to the point where they, of course, are heading off to the ship. And I also it's these meta moments like this one that I really love to laugh at Star Wars because it's Star Wars laughing at us.
Yep.
In the sense of, oh, when KB says, isn't it a really bad idea to go into hyperspace attached to something? These are the types of conversations that us nerds would have and actually debate and get angry about. And it's
Yep.
happened from time to time. And then they're like, and creators are just like, oh, watch us. We're gonna do it. I know you're
Yep.
not gonna like it, or maybe you will like it, but we're gonna do it anyway.
And I loved seeing the backlash of like the fuel line coming through. I did think the fuel line went on a little too long. Like personally, especially on the second watch, I was like, we still doing
Ooh,
this?
perfect. Oh yes, Katie. Hey, I'm so glad you brought that up because as I was watching it, I was thinking like, man, this seems kind of corny. Like they're trying to be like jokey because some of the thing is, but I think the music there is just to keep it light because we were watching it together, and my friend Elvis, who's Draken in the chat, he's a military man and does military things, knows what it's like to be around literal giant ships. And he was telling me about like maritime like danger really is those lines snapping and slicing people in half.
Yep.
Yeah. So like while like it's played jokey, I think to appease the kids to like keep us grounded in this, like this is a kids show. And I even said last week that from the premieres that this is not a kids show. This is a show that just has kids in it because they are really simulating people getting snapped by like these very scary things. So I think that's the grounding part for me, where it's like, oh, this is no joke, and we got to like remember that these are giant starships, and these kids are controlling these things. And some of them might be a little bit too eager to jump into turrets and things.
Well, and that was another thing too. I know that's we're jumping a little bit ahead, but that was a good moment that I wanted to talk about because here is somebody like Wim who is like, oh, Jedi are, the protectors of truth and justice and all these other things. Has he never heard of an X-Wing? Like,
No,
that should indicate. But that's what's wild about me. Again, we talked about the tinfoil hats of last week with X-Wing would have been way past the time frame of what we think that Atten was kind of locked in on.
Yeah,
so
because the X-Wing is like a New Republic era ship. Like not New Republic, but like late Empire Rebellion era ship.
And so
no matter what time frame he is, that kid shooting at an X-Wing is one of the coolest things Star Wars has ever done.
Yes.
I know we'll get to it later, but 100% one of the coolest things they've ever done.
But the fact that like when we were talking, or when they were talking, and he said like, oh, just go to just get in here, and they like got in there and they like started to shoot at him. I'm like, guys, you guys are kids. Like, why are y'all like? And Wim is just like, he's having fun, has a big smile on his face, and like just shooting. He's like, oh, I got him. And I'm like,
yeah, because again, this is just a kids show, Clay. This is just a kids show. No, these are kids controlling giant spaceships. And then you look at like us. Oh my God, I don't know if we're there yet, but like around 6 minutes and 45 seconds or so into the episode, we get this really wide shot of is it Borgo? Is that how you? Yeah, Borgo. Oh my God, we were watching it on my big screen, and if you can go to it, Clay, or if anyone can whoever's
it's right here. I'm at it right now.
Now, look in the top right, and like you see that skin that's right there. Tell me what that is.
At the top right?
Yeah, there's like a white and blue kind of. Hold on, let me see. Or maybe sorry. Go back a little bit more. 640. 640. It's like 640, maybe. Sorry.
We are not sharing this on screen, guys.
Well, yeah,
We
yeah.
don't
It's
want to
just,
be copyright strike.
well, not
but
only
we're
that, but
looking.
because of the way Disney Plus is, I wouldn't be able to. It actually shuts it off. It'll actually just
Yeah.
show a black screen.
644. Sorry, is what I'm at right now. 644.
All right, 6.
I promise it's going to be worth it. I promise it's going to be worth it because the way my wife and I gasped at the same time at the audacity of Disney to do this in a quote unquote kids show is despicable, and I love them for it.
Okay, so I probably cannot see this because I am blind. You said top right corner.
Yeah, well, like top right-ish corner, kind of right of the screen, like where it has like the big like lamp post.
Yeah.
There's like something hanging from that, right? What does that look like to you?
It looks like a net, to be completely honest.
That's no net.
What is
that? That looks a lot like a Togruta pattern shape head dress. Like put that against Ahsoka Tano's like shape.
Tell me okay.
Tell me it's not.
So I went too far. So I see it. It's in the center of the screen. If you get to a certain point of the actual
center
shot.
right, I guess. Yeah,
center right. It is, and you're right. It's at like a kiosk. What I would assume.
Kiosk. Sorry. Yeah. Tell me that's not a Togruta skin.
I wouldn't think so because it feels more like.
I don't know, dude. This show. How often do we talk
much.
About how intentional this show
I was gonna
is?
Say, it looks a little big, but like at the same time, it grows with the individual. So like
we've seen how big it gets for Ahsoka Tano when she gets older.
Yeah,
and that's what I'm saying. That there's no shot. I would love. Oh my God, if you're listening, this is kind of stuff, Swagman, that I wanted to talk to you about, not fucking gift boxes. Who did that? Because we gasped. I swear we gasped. Oh my God. We didn't even say it. We didn't even be like, oh my God, did you see that? We gasped because we saw it. Because it's so bright. It's so bright in this wide shot. And we were just talking, Clay, about how intentional they are about these wide shots, because that's what we've been talking about for a while. One of the big complaints in some of the Disney shows is that they didn't have the scope, right?
Yeah.
What better scope than seeing? I mean, we had a brothel, we've had tattoos, drug dens, skinning. But if you listen to the music, especially during this scene sequence, it's still like that very poppy, like cartoony. Dude, the music is so good. They're playing some of the best Star Wars right now.
Incredible job.
He's killing it. He bounces this to make it feel like a kid's show. But if you change the music to this, that is a scary scene.
It could be a very dark scene for sure.
We were watching it, and Mara's in her playpen, like just kind of playing, but then she started bouncing up and down, like especially with
oh my God, they're doing it
later on.
They're doing it.
Theremin. Yeah.
Oh, they're doing it. You're clever. Why can't let them cook? We just gotta let them cook.
No, it's so good. Like Mick is doing a fantastic job, and that's one of the things I wanted to talk about with this episode, because it just highlights like the biggest parts of the episode. But then I think it's the theremin, because a lot of people were talking about it, but like the bouncy, like kind of electro, once they get to that moon. Yeah, that, I dug that. I dug the crap out of that.
Again, talking about some shots, some landscape shots, some establishing shots. You know, we get off of this was it a moon where they had
Borgo?
Yeah,
or
Borgo's
like a comet, like meteor.
Okay, so we get away from the pirates, and then we go to the moon, because I remember KB said, "Oh, this moon is cold," and that's when Jude Law was like, "Oh, well, just keep moving, you'll warm up." Then they have this establishing shot where they're all walking on the sand. The moon is so huge.
The silhouette shot.
It is so beautiful. I
me.
love
Yeah.
this.
Tell you, though, you've never in your freaking life you've never seen a shot like that in the original trilogy. Ain't no way you look me
No.
dead in the face. You've seen a shot as beautiful as that in the original
Like,
trilogy.
silhouette
Come on,
shots have
man.
always existed in Star Wars, but that was
But that one is
awesome.
awesome because it's about the scope that like this is
Yes.
otherworldly. We're like, oh, two suns. Yeah, that's cute. Imagine it being in your face
Mhm.
in Star Wars. I don't know, man. I've never seen nothing like it. It's great. It's so good. Give me
But-
Purrgil and I'm dead next episode, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But one thing
I'm really interested to see where we go with that, with the coordinates,
Yeah.
but we're not there yet.
before we get to the actual moon scenes, though, there is a lot of stuff to talk about when they are actually in their ship traveling to
Yeah.
Jude Law's
Mhm.
friend. So we get to this moment where all the kids are eating dinner and they're talking. It's like, oh, is there really a treasure? Like, what are we talking about? No, our home is boring. Well, what if it has to do with the great works? Katie, you said this, you had this theory last week. You said, oh, well, maybe this treasure has to do something with the great works, has to do something with High Republic. They're even questioning, well, what do you mean? Well, what does your mom do? Oh, well, she does this. Well, my parents are, analysts. Oh, so is mine. Well, what do we analyze? And it's Wham that's like, oh, something boring, probably. And then he looks at the credits and they're like, oh, money. And then like they hide the credits before what did he say? Of course, Captain oh shoot, I'm freaking
Fern?
blanking. What was that?
Fern, or you talking about Nawood?
Jude Law's character, what name did he give them? I can't remember the name that he said.
Jor Nawood.
Jordan Nawood. Okay, yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Nawood comes in and he's like, okay, guys, it's time to go to bed. KB scared the crap out of me, man. Everybody's asleep. Fern is like, oh, I'm not even tired. Sounds like my child every single night.
Yeah. And they put her out. How cute was that, dude? I don't have kids, but I thought that was an adorable scene.
It was
an adorable scene.
But it's so like kids. They're like, oh no, I don't want to go to bed. Just like knock out.
Just wait 10 minutes. Just wait 10 minutes and you'll see what these kids are going to be doing later.
Exactly. And then
imagine your kid doing what they're are your kids around the same age as these kids?
Well, no, both of ours are very, very young.
Very, very young.
Yeah,
my daughter's only 3 years old, so
how old are the kids? What, 8, 9? Is that how old are they?
I would assume that these kids are
somebody said 11. They were taking
11?
a career assessment test at 11.
Okay, yeah,
11,
that makes
what
sense.
It was. I mean, honestly, man, like I'm so that this show makes me go from like that show to so much other stuff that I haven't even gone back and rewatched this last week's episode because I've been so deep in like other stuff. So I don't remember like if they've ever said the ages, but imagine
it's actually Jod, by the way.
Jod, yeah,
not
Jod Nawood.
Okay,
Jod Nawood.
Okay,
Jod Nawood or something like that. Yeah,
yeah, but like
who knows? Because he gives
11-year-old
names later.
kids going like, and that's the most terrifying thing. So, my little brother got lost at a strawberry festival when we were kids, and it took them like 6 hours to find him. And thinking that these group of kids are not just like maybe like a couple yards away, are literally light years away from their home planet. And they are lost. Like, it is a scary thought. It is a very like mind-blowing idea that what this plot is really about. But then they get down to being like, okay, well, nobody knows where we live. It is some sort of mythical place. We don't know, like, we always thought that we had a very boring home. Like, how are we going to do this? Surprisingly, with the idea of it being a mythical world, I do like how there are breadcrumbs to, get back to Atten, because we do get to this place, this moon, and we find this individual. This is the first of its kind.
Species, by the way. Yes.
Right?
So it's Kim, not spelled the traditional way, like my mother's name. But she's like a cat owl type thing.
Okay, that's what I put in my notes. I said an owl cat. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
No species name or anything, but yeah. I want to talk about this before we get into that, because this is kind of connected to the great works and everything. But Kim brings out this, it's not a map, it's like, I can't remember what she called it, but it's basically like this drawing of 9 planets that the old Republic had developed and had hidden treasures on. But the only
Yes.
one that survived was At-Aten, because
Did someone
everybody else was
translate that
destroyed.
stuff yet? Because I saw that and almost lost my mind. I had to like go somewhere directly after I watched the episode, so I didn't get to like sit there and like decipher or translate anything. But do we know what the planets are yet?
I haven't seen any translations.
Okay.
But my question here is she talking about the old Republic as in like the prequel trilogy Republic, or is she referencing the old Republic like in Legends?
Yeah, I think she's referencing from what I've seen, and I don't know. I'm sure
She calls
if
it the
someone knows.
Jewels of the Old Republic.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think that means prequel Republic, because when they were talking about what the money was, they called it Old Republic money, but the money that they have is clearly just you know, it's not like that
They're the
old,
credits
right?
like the prequel trilogy.
Yeah, the prequel like trilogy, right? So like though that would just, and then the High Republic is kind of what they've been referring it to. So changing what we know as the Old Republic in Legends is now just, I think, canonically the High Republic is what it feels like, as far as they've given us. Because I wouldn't think that it would be that old. Unless it is that old, then they've been there a lot longer than we think, and that's even cooler. So like, let's do it, because Will thinks every alien he sees is weird, and Neil thinks every alien is weird, and I think that's hilarious.
So the eras, and this is StarWars.com/eras. They have Dawn of the Jedi first, the Old Republic, the High Republic, Fall of the Jedi, Reign of the Empire, Age of Rebellion, the New Republic, Rise of the First Order, New Jedi Order. So the Old Republic is actually an era in there that's before the High Republic.
Yeah, let's see what they do. Let's see what they do.
I like how this is a very, and I don't know if a lot of people are gonna get this.
Y'all give me a second. I'll be right back.
Yeah, not a problem. I don't know if Adrian, I don't know if you're a huge fan of the anime series Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, I mean, I got some things, if you can see them.
Okay. So I don't know if you're currently watching Daima right now.
I mean, don't hate me for this, but I'm just waiting for the dub personally. I need
that's not a problem at all.
Yeah,
I will tell you this without actually spoiling anything. There seems to be minor retcons to tell a grander story in
let's do
the
it.
Dragon Ball universe.
Yeah, let's get some interconnectedness.
And I feel like that's what Skeleton Crew is essentially doing. Minor, subtle retconning in the sense of, hey, we haven't really been able to tell a Old Republic story, but here's some connective tissue for us to eventually touch upon that.
So like setting up some stuff from later. So like this is something that we haven't even seen yet. Like this can be a reference. It'll be like, oh, that's from Dawn of the Jedi.
Exactly.
Okay, that'd be cool. I'd be down. I don't think so. Personally, I don't think so. But I'd love to see it. If we're gonna go that big, and if they're swinging, like let's swing. Let's go big. Because then it would really feel like they're trying to bring all of us who've been doing the High Republic stuff for so long into the show, so we can have conversations like this of like, it might be older than you think if you really think about it.
Well, and that's the thing. Like we know, just with the announcements and everything else, we know that the Dawn of the Jedi movie, James Mangold's movie, is going to be coming out eventually. Let's go ahead and drop some breadcrumbs now, so that way when the movie comes out, there's people who have these aha moments of like, oh, that was in Skeleton Crew, And I think that's what this might potentially be doing. And again, people say people will hear Old Republic and think Legends and Knights of the Old Republic and all of these other things, where it actually means, well, yes and no, but here's how we're doing Disney's Old Republic,
That's
which
all
we haven't even tested yet.
Yeah. I mean, that's what they're doing. That's it. I think that's what they're doing with the Crimson Jack line that they drop, like 100%. That's what they're talking about, because there's no way he's the actual Crimson Jack from Legends or from canon, because he's either really young or really old, and he's gonna either one of the two. He would have had to have either gotten very small and lost all of his red hair and beard, or gotten very buff and lost his red hair and beard. But either way, it gets you to go look at other Star Wars stories, which is what I've been doing all day, because that's the lobs. It's like, hey,
and that's what I want to ask. Here. As somebody who, of course, I call Katie the queen of Star Wars history here on this show. Adrian, Katie, indulge me, teach me, who is Crimson Jack?
Adrian, I will let you go for this since you just did your video.
Yeah. I just wrapped up a kind of video talking about. So Crimson Jack is a pirate character, very space piratey, but his original entry into the universe was in 1977 in a Marvel comic. But he's like very traditional, like, I'm a pirate, yard. Like basically what we see in Skeleton Crew. Did some stuff with Han Solo in like Zero Beat ABY, so like very early thing, right? Doesn't really do much outside of that. We don't even really see too much pirate stuff like in the movies or things like that to begin with. But what we do get is in 2022 that Halcyon Legacy comic that comes out that is supposed to be like the background story for the Galactic Star Cruiser, the Disney World experience. Crimson Jack had attacked that ship at some point, or that had attacked that ship in, was it 34 ABY? So that is First Order era thing. So they brought him back into the canon, but in a much different time frame to set up the Galactic Star Cruiser as a thing, like to the point where in the muster at the Halcyon, the captain would be like, we've only ever had to press this button one time, like the emergency button or whatever, and that one time was literally the Crimson Jack storyline of the thing. So that's like all we've ever really known of Crimson Jack. At the end of the story, he's like literally like the goddamn. They got away. They tricked me. It's like a super five issue thing. It's super straightforward, but that's it. So when they mention Crimson Jack here, there's no way that this dude in 9 ABY is Crimson Jack.
So the question,
unless he is,
for you,
which
Adrian,
would be nuts. If this dude is that Crimson Jack, this story is going to be crazy. Because how do we get from that to that in 25 years? I want to know so bad.
So I don't think he's the Crimson Jack from the Halcyon Legacy comic. What if this is a Dread Pirate Roberts situation?
Oh, I love it.
Set it up. Set me up. Let's do it. That's what we were talking about when I was trying to explain it to my friend who's in the chat when they said they did a gasp and then yelled. I did like the in 22 Jump Street when Channing Tatum's like, oh shit, Crimson Jack.
I love Katie. This is when will we learn our lesson, Katie? This is the second show where we have pitched, they're gonna dread Pirate Roberts us, because we said the same thing about Darth Plagueis and everything else in Acolyte, putting on our tinfoil hats, and now we're doing it here with the Skeleton Crew.
But this is like legit. This is like
it's a pirate. Like it makes total sense. Yeah.
The concept.
Yeah. But how does this dude become like the big thing? Like, how does that happen? Like, how does that scene come together? How does that moment happen right there in 9 ABY on this Star Wars timeline? Talking about timelines and like the progressions of everything. So it's just like a super, super cool niche. And like, it feels like a celebratory callback. Like, I feel like a very small portion of the population went, oh shit, at the very same time across the planet. And I felt like I got to be a part of that because I felt like I was rewarded. Katie, we get rewarded in this new era of being nerds who are digging deep into like these super obscure comics that no one's ever going to read.
I love it because
and then that's my wife in the chat there who was also
Hello,
losing her
Stephanie.
mind.
Stephanie Hart says hi.
Stefani.
Stephanie.
Like Gwen
Stefani,
Stefani.
excuse me. Ah, gotcha.
No, you got it. You got it.
So I did that twice in this episode. Once when I heard Alfred Molina's character, I was sitting there and Matt was asleep and the baby was asleep, and I was like, okay, I know who this is. Who the heck is this? And I went into the credits later, and they didn't have the guest starring in there, so I couldn't figure out who it was. And then it popped up on Twitter later. But then with the Crimson Jack, I was like, that's a reference, because I didn't remember the comic specifically, but I recognized Crimson Jack. I was like, I had to go look it up that night.
It's super scary, and I'll go a little bit deeper. I'm going to brag on myself, just not like a little. This isn't like really a brag thing. I'm going to
do it, Adrian. Do it,
dude. But like, I had reviewed. So I went to the Galactic Star Cruiser in 2022. It was announced in 20 whatever. So I've been like saving like for this entire time, and then I reviewed issues 1 through 5 of that comic that has Crimson Jack getting foiled with working with the First Order, all this stuff. Forever. So I knew what the story, I knew what the Halcyon was like as a story thing in the thing. So I was really excited to like be immersed in that. And then when the captain, who is the same captain from the comic series, is saying, "Oh, only the one time," I was like, I'm gonna go ask her about it. So I went to go ask her, and I was like, "Hey, is that one time the time with Crimson Jack?" And she was like, "How do you know about Crimson Jack?" And then she was like, "Meet me." So she like got on her like her old data pad. She's like, "Meet me here at 12 or whatever." And they went. It was like a group of like a bunch of people who I guess had asked about the same thing or something, like on like a little side mission thing.
Oh, that's cool.
Where we were getting like behind the scenes stuff of like the incoming attack that was about to happen and all this shit. And I was just like, all because I read a fucking Star Wars comic and knew about this obscure ass character. That's validation, dude. That's awesome. Real life validation. So
that's great, man.
It's great. You know, even if it means nothing, it could be nothing to me, Katie. Like it could not be anything. It could just be like that's all it could be to me, and I'd be happy.
Yeah. Also, I am sorry if you hear Mara in the background. We are like sleep training, quote, like trying. So she's not happy.
I was gonna say we've been there, but I have been there, Katie. You've heard Amberlynn screaming at the top of her lungs on this show before. I totally understand it. I can't hear anything, so I think we'll be fine. Going back, we get this like very subtle history of what life is like on Aten, because we are trying. Kim is trying to basically use them as a map. Which I think is
I loved.
A really cool concept. It's like, okay, we don't have an actual map. We will just learn some things from you guys. Hey, what are some close by, planets? Oh, well, we don't know about any planets because of the barrier. Oh, that's interesting. What is that? Oh, it's kind of cloudy and all this other stuff. Like, I love how like ignorance is bliss for these kids. It's just like, oh, it's just whatever. And here's Kim just typing away and typing away and typing away. Not a whole lot there with the barrier. I'm still very interested about the barrier because
Kim acts like it was nebulous gases, and not like an actual barrier,
which we have all talked about with last week with possible storm seeds and storm wall technology and all of these
technology. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I just thought of this because I meant to bring this up earlier, and this is completely off topic from like the nebulous gases and the planet hunt. Did Jod seem to be very familiar with the Onyx Cinder when he was walking around and he was popping hatches to get the kids into the gun seats?
Like he's been on the ship before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if it's that or if he just knows ships, the same way that like I imagine
he knows
Anakin
ships
or
because
Jedi
he did
ask.
Ships. He asked Smee, "What is this ship called?"
Yeah,
he wants to know.
He asked what the ship was called, but then when they go to get to the ship off of Borgo and they're in like the little ferry ship thing, and he's like,
"Oh no,
that's your
that
ship?"
Yeah,
like.
I
So
think
I
he
feel
knows what it
there's
is.
some
Well,
history.
I think it's tough because you go back to like the Force Awakens. You're like, oh, not that one. That one's garbage. She doesn't know that that's the Millennium freaking Falcon until
Mhm.
someone tells him it's the Millennium freaking Falcon. So
Yeah.
I think it might be that he just knows that it's an old ship. Like that ship shouldn't be there, type thing, right? Like if you found
Yeah.
like a pirate ship, you're just like, what?
Well, I
Like,
wonder if
well, I mean, that's like
he.
what happened, right? They found like a pirate ship. Like, so I
Yeah.
think
Well,
it
no,
might.
I
I think
I
maybe just
wonder if
old.
he
Maybe I
is
don't know. I
like
don't know.
I wonder if he is just like an experienced pirate who has done like he knows he's like a history buff with pirates, and maybe that's what this is. I mean, because it's no coincidence that I think it's confirmation enough that people have said enough things online. Smee is definitely a reference to Captain Hook, and Peter Pan and all of that. Like I feel like there is going to be an episode in this season or in this series where Smee is going to talk about his old crew because we have not heard anything about
Yeah.
his entire crew yet. We know that there was 2 dead bodies in there, but that's it. So like I feel like just to add some nuance to the story, to add some backstory to why exactly this ship was on Aten, I feel like there is going to be something there for us to kind of, you know, either
Latch on
hold
to.
on to and be like, okay, this is going to be very important to the story moving forward, or just like we'll have an aha moment with this, flashback or whatever it may be to be like, oh, that's why Crimson Jack knows about this ship, type of
Mhm.
thing. That's what I think.
I could totally see that. I know next week is supposed to be the Neil specific episode, right? I think.
I
The
don't know.
is it the Don brothers who did that episode?
Yeah, the Daniels
Daniels,
who
sorry,
did that episode.
I'm thinking. See, I recently did a revamp of my Ranger Alliance show. Don brothers are Sentai related stuff. So, little hint for anybody who's waiting for Ranger Alliance to come back on the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network. But we are doing this whole history thing. We talk about the barriers. They're telling a little bit more history about about at Aten, and Fern is recognized with the patch on her backpack. And so Kim is like, what is that? This means something, And did have we seen anything? Because I don't think there was really any kind of like
Palmerish numerals is the term she used, and that was not on Wikipedia anywhere.
so this might be a new thing. Okay. So I
Yeah,
think this
again, I
is
haven't seen the episode again, but yeah, I'd be curious to see if it was like
finds
related to
anything. Yeah.
something. I didn't see anything at first glance. When it happened, I wasn't like, oh shit. It was more like, oh, I can't wait for someone smarter than me to tell me.
So, but this is around the time where Crimson Jack is like, hey, you probably could have figured this out a long time ago. It's almost like you're stalling for something. And he turns up the radio, hears the X-Wings, they're on their way, and tells, Kim to call them off. We need to run. We're going to escape. And thus the scene with the kids being way too excited to murk people ensues. I thought this scene was very, very fun, although kind of intense and scary. The fact that Neil was in charge of the ship for a little bit as far as flying, then Captain or Crimson Jack, like I love how he goes like super low to the ground to the moon,
Yep.
and like kicks up all of that dust to
Woo,
get the
boy.
X-Wings to kind of back up.
Yeah, that's good. It's
Yeah.
good. Yeah, I just love the implications of kids shooting at X-Wings. I think it's the coolest thing Star Wars has ever done. Dude, I think it's the coolest thing Star Wars has ever done. I don't know if either of you have played Outlaws yet.
I haven't had the
Little
chance
bit.
to yet.
Yeah, if you play a little bit, like very, very minor spoilers, because it happens like in like the first quest, and it's kind of like one of the biggest things of the thing. But like the Rebel Alliance betrays you as like the main character, like very early in the game, and you have to like sit there with the fact that they leave you to die and that the protectors and the kind of like we were talking about how they see Crimson Jack, as I'm gonna call him Crimson Jack until we figure out what his real name is. Until Crimson Jack figures it out, like he thinks that like he is the Jedi who's gonna save them, right? And Kay, for who doesn't really know anybody either, very similar to these kids. Once she's off that planet, she doesn't know who Jabba the Hutt is. She doesn't know who all these people are. These are just people to her, right? So I think having it be just so apparent that like no one really can be anyone can be anybody, right? Like you don't have to be the Jedi that, and I think that might be what Wim is learning here. That this dude doesn't got to be a Jedi. He can just be doing good things because that's what he said he wanted to be. He never said he wanted to be a Jedi. He wanted to go do good things. And how often do we see? And this is what I'm thinking about now. Like, what if like Crimson Jack was like that? Maybe he didn't want to be a Jedi. Maybe he was Force sensitive, but he didn't want to be a Jedi. He just wanted to do good things, and he just kind of fell into the wrong crowd. Something. Yep. Here we are. But kids doing that. That's like kids firing at the cops because the New Republic at this time are cops right now, 100%. The New Republic sucks. The New Republic sucks. They're so inept. They need to be put into place a little bit and show kids that you don't have to just be a Jedi. You don't have to go be about. You can go be a good pirate. And what if they show us them being some good pirates here? You know, that could be very well the case.
It like
you don't got to be a Jedi. You can just be a good person with a lightsaber.
Well, I saw somebody share a GIF of Treasure Planet, which is literally my favorite Disney animated movie. And you know, you look at those characters in Treasure Planet, Jim Hawkins and the cyborg, and how like he was the bad guy. He was always meant to be the bad guy, but then he has a soft heart. And there's a lot of things that I could see are like, oh yeah, this is exactly how it could kind of turn out. You're talking about how, there's this implementation that Crimson Jack probably was Force sensitive, didn't want to be a Jedi. We've kind of seen that already in the High Republic with the Blade, his sister. You know, the implications of like, hey, I always thought I was meant to do good things. I thought the Jedi were going to do that for me, but hey, I'm not really liking this path we're going down. So let's
Anakin. So many of these Jedi just want to do good things. Anakin, since he was a boy, all he wanted to do was help people. That's all he wanted to do.
Yeah,
that dude could have been anything. That dude could have been a fantastic racing pilot. Could have done a lot of good for charity or something. But now he became a Jedi and like used his power. There's just choice. Giving the kids choice is what we're seeing so much in Star Wars right now with the Acolyte and now Skeleton Crew of very open choice. It doesn't have to be just Jedi. You can go be a Mechanic. Go be a Mechanic if you want to go be a Mechanic. You don't gotta go be a Jedi just because you're Force sensitive.
Yeah.
You know? Your specialness is special because of other things. You're special because of you, not because of the Force.
Yeah. But that's also another thing that we did. We kind of just skipped right over. Fern is very adamant on no, he's not a Jedi. No, he's not a Jedi. There's plenty of other ways that you can make it look like things are floating.
I love that.
Do we think that he's actually Force sensitive, or was it a play on, magnets or mirrors or really thin string?
I think he's actually Force sensitive. And I think he even has like some sort of like official training. Like maybe he did actually escape Order 66. I know like we're done with like Jedi like being able to escape things, but I feel like he has
I hope
training.
not. The galaxy's huge. I hope that more got
That's
away.
what like I meant
we've talked about this plenty of times.
Oh, okay,
a lot of the general audience,
like,
not even general audience, a lot of crybabies don't think that there should be that many survivors in the galaxy when it comes to Order 66.
I wish more of them died. What? That's weird.
Like, hello, the galaxy is so freaking vast and large.
So I said that as kind of like a joke, Adrian.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. I was like, I don't know about that one.
I feel like he survived Order 66 and has like some sort of training and
better at hiding.
Yeah, better at hiding.
He's not because even if he did survive, even if he had some kind of train, something he's not cut off from the Force. He didn't shut it out when he was feeling it, whenever he was feeling it, right? How many of those Jedi that we survive Order 66 cut them off, or like who go into exile, who like literally cut themselves off and don't even do the Force anymore, even though they're the most powerful
Obi-Wan
Force user ever. Like Luke cut himself off, the GOAT, quote unquote, you know. So he didn't do it. So he has some story that means that I want to figure it out and find out what it is.
Yeah.
But if he turns into like the moniker of Crimson Jack and like he's like a Dread Pirate Roberts, I want to see how he did it, because
I think that's
crazy, because he's not a redhead, right? He's not a redhead. If I'm not mistaken, right?
But hey, maybe that's why he wears the helmet.
He's gonna get a red helmet.
It could
racing stripes with red flames.
Hell yeah! But we leave the moon, and Kim tells these X-Wing pilots, when they ask, where'd they go anyway? Well, if I told you, you wouldn't believe me. And then end credits. I thought that was very classic, like cliffhanger, very cheesy. Loved it anyway. I love the close-up, the kind of zoom in on Kim at the very end there. But that's the episode.
Is Kim's clothes? Has anyone talked about Kim's clothes?
Mm-mm.
They look like Jedi roby, right?
It was very robe-esque. I will say, yes.
Like, is she like a archivist Jedi thing going on here? Is that like why she has so much information and so much knowledge about ancient stuff? Because like they're the kind of keepers of all of that information, for better or worse, for a real long time.
It would make sense.
But she looked, and then like the connection there
with Crimson Jack,
like,
and
is Crimson Jack like, is that the stupid name he used that one time, like, you know, Black Widow and Hawkeye type thing, like,
back in Budapest, you know, that whole
back
thing?
in Budapest type line.
Yeah. I think it
would
be a very fun. I think it would be a very fun connection.
We came up with that right now. I think
it would be a very fun connection, and then even there being like a little bit of like animosity towards them, of like, like
you chose that, you chose this.
She's gonna stab us in the back, and then like even her, she's like, what are you doing with these kids? Like, there's something there that if there was a connection, if she is a archivist, a librarian of sorts for some sort of temple out there in the galaxy, and Crimson Jack was the Jedi. Again, all tinfoil hats here, but that's what we love about that's what we love about Star Wars Alliance and Star Wars as a whole.
Yes.
And we're not married, and I'm not married to any of it. Anything can happen, and I'm probably
anything can happen. And I think that's the best part about these shows now. Is just like, hey, I love the fact that people are cooking with these theories, because it is like crazy. They're wild. They're fun. But I love
it's even funnier. It's even funnier after last week, coming to this week and being like, hey, we knew you were going to do that. we knew you were going to have that theory, silly goose.
I love how so many people are so close together when it comes to their theories. It's like, there is like a connective chain here. Let's see how this goes.
It's the Force.
I really love it. I love it. But that is it for the episode. This one was, in total, I believe, a
48
good
minutes?
48 minutes. 48 minutes total, but the credits rolled at 33:15 is when the credits rolled here. I thought this one, so the first two episodes, that second episode, can you keep a secret? In credits, I was so angry because I wanted more. This was so fulfilling in answering a lot of the questions that we had immediately after the second episode, while also giving me new information to kind of sit on and ponder on and think about, and like, okay, I'm going to be ready for the next episode. Let's go. Like, I felt satisfied with this episode. I wasn't too upset about only 33 minutes or whatever. Yeah, they could have gone further, but I felt like this one was pretty nice.
Yeah, I gave it a 10. It's one of the easiest 10s I've ever given a Star Wars project, I think, ever.
Yeah.
I thought it was a banger start to finish. I thought last week, and even in my review for But Why Though, I said that we have to be aware here. Like, I know like we're hyped now, but we got to be aware that time can be an issue. And we saw a significant drop from episode 1 to episode 2 in timing. And I think the pacing felt that a little bit. Like that episode definitely feel rushed. Whether or not we're supposed to feel rushed because they want you inside the kid's head, or versus like a budget issue or whatever is like near the hero there, it feels rushed. But this episode felt good. Like I didn't even so for me, I had the episode happened at 6. I had to be somewhere at 6:15. I saw the episode length. I was like, man, that's a good episode length. Okay, cool. We're going to be able to get out of here on time. By the time it finished, I was like, I just want to talk about it. I just want to talk about it. I want to go rewatch it. I want to go do whatever. In 33 minutes, dude, flew by. Like that's a good, that felt like not Saturday morning cartoonsy kind of thing, but like a good, weekly network television. Like, hey, did you see what happened last week on fucking Skeleton Crew? God damn.
Yeah, there was I use this reference a lot, and I know that we haven't really heard a food reference from Travis in a very long time, but this had a lot of meat and potatoes in it. Like I do love that about this show right now, because it does have some heavy implications with things, and it gives you a lot of that information to kind of feed on, and you're like, okay, I am full, I am rested. Where's dessert? Like where's second breakfast? Kind of thing.
Yeah.
So very, very fun stuff. Adrian, I want to say thank you for jumping on. You were always welcome to come on.
Yeah, so, count me in every week until we're out of here, man. Until the season's over, I'll be
let's do it.
With you guys.
Yeah, let's do it for sure.
I'm down.
Adrian, now I know that you at one point were very, very, and still are, because I even shared one of your videos with my wife the other day.
Thank you.
With TikTok. Why don't you share with our audience where you're active, what you're doing? And I know that Katie referenced some sort of video on Crimson Jack, so if you have something to share with that, let the audience know.
I mean, I'm at Super Reese 93 basically kind of everywhere. Most active right now on Instagram and TikTok, and I'm gonna be doing I'm working on a video right now to talk about like Crimson Jack, kind of like what I told you guys about the Halcyon experience, and like why I think like that specific name drop reference is so big, and some of the things that Skeleton Crew is doing. I just really love Star Wars. I think it's doing a lot of great things, so I'm taking a lot of time to just talk about that. And then other than that, you can find me writing at But Why Though, and doing things over there. I wore my digital eclipse hat to remind myself to plug Rita's Rewind that just came out on the 10th. It is fantastic. Go get it. I have it on Steam Deck. It works great on Steam Deck. Please get it on your Steam Deck. Perfect game for it. Other than that, find me here next week to talk to you guys about whatever the heck happens, because I'm here for it.
All right. And of course, you can always find me at Fanboy Clay on Blue Sky, on Instagram as well. I'm going to try to be more active there. On Blue Sky, I am trying to lean a little bit more towards my job, being in the comic book industry. Going to be plugging a lot of stuff every single month with our catalog that we have at my job. So go check that out if you're into it. Again, Ranger Alliance is going under a revamp in the year of 2025, so you will see new episodes starting then. If you join our Patreon, you can actually listen to the first 3 episodes. I uploaded them the other day. Really fun stuff that we are getting into. Really excited to jump into Rita's Rewind. I'm holding off until the Switch drops on the 19th, which I don't know if I'm actually going to wait that long. I might just grab it on the PlayStation or Xbox.
Go do it right now. Go do it right now. It's so good. It's so good.
But getting really excited to jump in on that. I love the idea of the couch co-op aspect as well as the online play aspect of it as well. And it's just so nostalgic with the 8-bit, 16-bit look. So really going to be jumping into that. And we're even talking about possibly recording some gameplay with the other.
You should get 6 of you together, dude. You're gonna have so much fun. It's gonna be fantastic.
So go check me out there. Go check out Ranger Alliance when it finally drops in the new year. And yeah, Katie, what about you?
Y'all, you can find me on most social media platforms. It is at Slice of Katie. Remember, you can shoot us an email or a Twitter at the username Star Wars Alliance with no A in the wars. That's very important. Don't forget it. The email is at gmail.com. You can also shoot us a text 830-538-4828. With that, y'all, I want to wish everyone a great day or night, whatever time of day you are listening or watching, and we will see y'all next time. May the force be with you.